Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And I have a really nice guest here today. Josie Jackson's here today. She's joining me from Florida, and we're going to be talking about Ascension and the crystalline body. So we're really excited that she's with us today. So you guys, make sure that you share the show and remember to subscribe to my channel because it helps me. Now, before I bring her on, there's just a couple things I want to talk about today that is going on with humanity. And this was quite a shocker. Alaska quake produces prolonged shaking tsunami. And I did not see that there was a tsunami. So I guess it's Perryville, Alaska. It says a powerful earthquake which struck just off Alaska's southern coast caused prolonged shaking and prompted a tsunami warnings that sent people scrambling for shelters. Residents reported only minor damage, but officials said that could change after sunrise and people get a better look. So this just happened. The National Tsunami Warning Center canceled the warnings early Thursday when the biggest wave of just over a half foot was recorded in Old Harbor. And so a tsunami warning that had also been issued for Hawaii was also canceled, and officials said that there was no threat to Guam or the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. But this is something that's going on. The war, as it was, so the USA, Suni Lee won gold Thursday in the women's individual all-around gymnastics final. God, I love gymnastics. It's so fun. She was defending the title despite the absence of the team's reigning champion, Simone Biles. So an American has won now each of the last 5 Olympic titles. That is really cool. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. I don't know if you guys are watching the Olympics or not, but it's always interesting and it's nice to support our people over there. So I've got Josie here today. And she's actually a Texas native. She resides in the Sunshine State of Florida. She's an empath. She's a really interesting lady, you guys. She's a psychic. She's a channeler. She's an energy practitioner. She does Vedic astrology, which I've watched her on her website. She's pretty cool. Josie's worked with souls on a spiritual path for various belief systems and walks of life. She does guidance for families, collective energy updates, personal spiritual mentorship. Hey, Josie, welcome to High Road to Humanity.
Hey, love. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm excited you're here today. You know, it's nice to have you here, and I want to hear your story because we didn't talk about this so much. I don't know how long have you been doing this work, and how did it all come about? Tell the audience your story.
Well, sometime around 2013,
Okay.
that thing that everybody is talking about with these angel numbers, 1111, kind of happened to me. So
Okay.
I got curious because previous to that, I saw people posting on Facebook and stuff the time. And I'm like, what is this? But then I left it alone. And then I started seeing 1111. So I Googled it, and that was all she wrote. It was a whole portal rabbit hole situation. I learned so much, and it was kind of like I was fast tracked into the conscious part of my ascension.
Yeah. No, I think that's wonderful. Now, did you start doing readings? Because I watched you. I just want to back up. I watched you on your, you have a YouTube channel. What is your YouTube channel?
It is Josie Jackson, Josie.
Okay. Well, you do some Vedic astrology.
Yes, that was actually in the very beginning, before I even started doing readings or anything. I reached out to a Vedic astrologer and got a reading. But then Western astrology was just easier for me. So for years, I just stuck with Western astrology as a tool. It wasn't
Right.
until 2018 that I went on ahead and made the switch to Vedic astrology.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think that's really cool. You were given like the forecast for July, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you have any things to tell us for August maybe that's coming up?
Well, August is kind of already happening.
Okay,
Okay.
well, do you mind? I mean, give us some insight here, Josie.
And August is going to be quite the ride. It is going to be a lot of, Leo energy. We're coming out of Cancer energy and we're going into Leo energy, and it's going to be lit. If you're not used to fire energy, the element of fire, you're just going to kind of have to hold on to your seat because there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of bustling.
Okay, I lost you there for a second. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm losing you here and I don't know why.
There we are. Okay.
Okay, yeah, and turn up your volume a little bit so we can hear you a little bit better.
Am I back?
You're back. Okay, continue on. You say there's fire. Okay, so what's going to happen here in August?
People are going to be busy. People are going to be doing a lot of communication. Okay. Everything that wasn't happening that you were wishing that could happen or should have been happening the last couple of months is going to happen condensed all in the month of August. Okay. It's like a
Really?
catch up.
Okay.
All this stuff is going to happen. You're going to be busy. So it's very important that you are really picky about the time you spend with others and really prioritize because you're going to need your energy. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, that's really awesome. Well, and I've noticed that, I'll just say in my own business, that it's kind of, things slow down. I'm an Aquarius, but things slowed down, it seemed like, the last month and a half.
Mhm.
And that's been for everybody, regardless of your sign, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, why is that, Josie? Do you know?
Well, it doesn't matter the astrology when you've also got the collective ascension going on.
Okay.
So even though some signs will be affected particularly and feel the energies more than others, there's also outside of the astrology the collective ascension that's happening that is all
Right.
energetic and activation based and
Okay.
everybody.
Well, and that's what you're going to talk to us about today is the Ascension. We've got about 5 minutes before we go to commercial break. Talk to us a little bit about the Ascension, if you would.
Awesome. So a lot of people are like, what is ascension? So I'm going to break this down very basic for you. Okay.
Okay.
This is the evolution of the soul. Okay. To a higher vibration. Let's take the body out of it for a moment and
Okay.
understand that the energy precedes anything physical. So there is stuff happening on an energetic level for the planet and for the individual beings living on this planet. So
Mhm.
as the energy starts to shift to a higher vibration, everything physical is going to have to adjust
Mhm.
to that new frequency.
I
And
know.
that's what everybody's experiencing right now on all kinds of different levels. Some of us are having an easier time than others because, again, if you don't have the awareness, the things that are happening to you can kind of make you feel like a victim. But if you have awareness, then you're able to navigate the energies better.
I
Doesn't mean
see.
you're not going to have a hard time just in general, because this is something that hasn't been done before. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's affecting us all, but what you're saying, it affects everybody in a little bit different way, and it's how we handle it, right?
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
and I want to ask you this, and I felt this way myself. Things have happened. I used to be reactive to things when they happen. Now I kind of just like, wow, check that out. And I look at it from a different perspective and I think, okay. And now I see a bigger picture. Is that what you're talking about here?
Yes, everyone will eventually get to the point to where they understand that energy just happens. It just is. And you don't particularly have to box it into something that is either good or bad. It's just
Mhm.
happening. And how your response to it is what the big deal is. It's how you respond.
Right.
That's what makes
Okay.
it different in the world that you're co-creating. Okay.
Right. It's how you handle it. Okay, cool. No, that makes sense. So what advice do you give, because there's a lot of people that are woken up right now, but there's people who aren't, and it's interesting because you watch it. I
Yes.
mean, you know what I mean? Now you're like, oh, look at this. You look at it you're laughing. Well, tell me what you think. Don't you think that? I think that too.
It can be difficult because we are all living next to each other. However, we are all in different densities and we're shifting
Mm-hmm.
between, and it
Yeah.
can be very obvious that you are somewhere completely different than your husband, wife, brother, mother, sister. Okay. And that can be difficult for everyone. That
Josie, I've seen this a lot I had a lady this morning that I talked to, but I see it a lot in marriages where the wife or the husband, I've seen it on both sides. I've seen the husband and the wife, where one has evolved and the other hasn't, and there's a separation. I've seen a lot of that.
Oh yeah, that was part of my initial awakening consciously. I went through a divorce as well. And there are some people that will hold on to the bare bones. Okay, they will hold on and they will try to help their partner or family members ascend. Do not help anyone. Do not. It's not. That's not your mission to come here and try to force ascension on somebody else. You
Yeah.
are the example. Just deal with you. Okay.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely right on. Right on, Josie. The same thing happened to me. And because we're empathic, we want to help these people, but you're exactly right. We can't do it. Hey, we got to go to commercial break. You guys, I'm here today with Josie Jackson. This is Nancy You're Out. This is High Road to Humanity. We're talking about Ascension, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy You're Out, and this is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Josie Jackson. We're talking about Ascension. We're talking about what it's like when a family member or a loved one is ascending and the other one isn't. And Josie, you were saying you cannot force that. And if you want to elaborate on that a little bit, I know you've seen it yourself in your readings and stuff. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yes, I see it a lot, actually. There are so many people who are concerned about their family members in general, even your children, because I know this is a really important spot for people.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to adapt the mentality that you cannot take anyone with you. Okay. This is a process of the individual's free will, and you don't know what their soul path is. You don't know what they're supposed to come here and experience exactly. So it's very important to focus on your own ascension and yourself and just to be the example. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're not like the others and it gets too intense, well, it's on purpose because you're also still going through lessons of detachment. And at some point, you're going to have to detach, whether it be physical, mental, or emotionally from people, places, and things.
Yeah. And it's hard. And I will say that, I have children. I have one daughter who is totally on board and the other isn't. And there's nothing I can do. I have to let her find her way. And it's hard. I just want to say this because I have children. My children are older, but it's still the same situation. And it's hard. And I see a lot of conflict in families over this situation. And a lot of it has to do with the vaccine and the COVID and all this stuff that's going on, which we won't get into a whole deal with that. But that is part of it because I see, and Josie, I want to know what you think. The people who are ascending are not into this whole vaccine situation. Again, I'm not giving medical advice, but the people who are ascending don't want anything to do with it. Do you see the same thing?
Oh yeah, I see the same thing often with the vaccine situation. But
Mm-hmm.
there are, just to even the playing field, there are light workers who have chosen to get the vaccine as well. So it's really the individual's path. It goes back
Yes.
to their path because your experience that you're supposed to have here is to be the example for those around you.
Mhm.
to help them at the level that they're at.
Right, right. Well, and that's exactly right. They see that you're happy and that you're go lucky and you're balanced and you're not affected by everything. And then people start to think, wow, why are they not affected like I am?
Hmm.
And people
Exactly.
start to become victims. Talk about that a little bit. Do you see that as well?
I love using this example. If you're familiar with the Mickey Mouse movie, the Disney movie Fantasia,
Yeah,
how Mickey Mouse decided to get the wand after the wizard said, "Hey, don't touch this," because he didn't know what to do with it. He doesn't know how it operates, right? But he messed
right.
with it anyway, and it caused catastrophe. When you are unaware of the energies happening around you, and the way that your own personal energy works, it
Hmm.
can cause catastrophes, and you will be thrown into this energy of victimhood because you lack the awareness. That's all that is.
That's interesting that you would say that to people. And I always tell people, if you lack the awareness to take some time in the morning and connect with the divine, do some meditation. Everybody's like, I don't know how to meditate. Well, just sit quietly and connect and do some prayers. What do you say to people who are, in that position? Do you say the same thing?
For people who don't know how to meditate, it is because you have the expectation that you want to reach a state of no thought. But the road to not thinking is thinking. So the beginning of your journey will be you sitting there, allowing your mind to think, because then you will find yourself in a place of no thought. It will just happen. Okay.
Hmm.
And then other things are meditative too: gardening, washing dishes, anything that you do where all of your focus is on that one thing and you're not multitasking can be meditative.
I like
Okay.
that. Yeah, my daughter runs. She's a runner, and she says that's when she meditates. So I agree with you. Everybody has, their own little way that they do it. But I guess the most important thing is to connect with the divine, connect with a higher power, whatever you want to call it, you guys. You have to connect. And when you do, then the messages and the information come.
Yes. And it
Yeah.
comes in the weirdest ways too. You could be in the shower. This, don't expect things to happen immediately. Oh, I'm going to meditate. Oh, I'm going to do some qigong, and then while I'm doing this activity, I'm going to receive messages. Sometimes it can be delayed. It can delay a few hours or a couple of days, but the answers to the questions or whatever messages you were expecting will come.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to say, I always tell people, don't forget to ask. A lot of times, and whether you pray or whether you just say, hey, God, or whether you journal, I journal. I think journaling is really important. I always journal in the morning and I'm like, hey, dear God, I think this, or can you guide me through that? Talk about that. Do you journal or do you do anything like that?
Well, kind of. I
Okay.
don't journal exactly. I used to. Journaling is very good and it is very helpful because it shows you what you're thinking and how you're feeling at certain periods of time. And you can
Mhm.
also look back and see how you evolved through your journaling. For me, a lot of my writing gets taken up by recording my dreams.
Oh, okay. I think that's cool.
I have
Now,
a
why do
lot
you
of
do that, Josie? Why do you do that?
I use my dreams to navigate my waking life because I have a lot of premonitic dreams, a lot of symbolistic dreams, and I get a lot of guidance in my dream state from my spiritual team. And it tells me in my waking life, okay, yes, I'm supposed to be in this situation. I remember this situation from my dream. So I'm right where I need to be dealing with what I'm dealing with, and it just makes it okay. Even if it's a negative situation, I understand that I'm supposed to be experiencing this,
So it's
you know.
confirmation. It's your
Mhm.
confirmation. I think that's really cool. Because I mean, some people, because I don't remember my dreams all the time, but that's not the way I learned, but a lot of people do. I think that's really interesting that you do that. That's phenomenal. You talk about the crystalline body. What do
Mhm.
you, if people don't know what that means, will you explain what that is?
Well, the human body okay, on a DNA level is carbon based, right?
Right.
But with this beautiful energy coming in to the planet right now and this soul evolution, it's shifting physically as well, right?
Okay.
Goes from energy to physical, from carbon based to a silicone based being, to a silicone based DNA structure, which is
Wow.
kind of like a liquid crystal. It's not hard like your quartz crystal or any crystal like this, but it's still a crystalline structure in a fluid form. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
that's that's what it looks like physically on a DNA level, because
Okay.
everything starts with the DNA and then goes out from there.
Right.
The DNA is like a computer system. It is like when you code on a computer, you give the computer commands.
Mm-hmm.
So in a spiritual way, source energy, God, the higher power, is the supercomputer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, your body is like a mini version of that, and the DNA gets commands from source energy when
Right.
we're going through this evolution. And once those once that information is integrated into your body, then that's when the physical changes start to happen. Emotional changes, mental, everything starts to upgrade, like when you upgrade your
Like
computer.
like you're doing an upgrade. I want to ask you something, a couple things. A couple years ago, I guess, I really had some terrible leg cramps and woke up in the middle of the night, and I mean, it was excruciating. But now I think that was a download.
Mm-hmm. Downloads cannot, they, a lot of times it's not exactly comfortable, but you can
Right.
always, in the moment, I learned this myself. In the moment when the energy gets too intense, when, because what's happening is the divine light energy, that Christ consciousness energy, is hitting blockages that you have in your body somewhere. That's all it's doing, and you feel it.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can your spiritual team for help. Hey, this is too intense right now. I'm gonna need y'all to send me some energy, level this out. You can also go outside to Mother Gaia, to the earth,
I
and
know. Yay.
bare feet to the ground. You
Yep.
know.
Yep. I do it every morning. Do you do it too, Josie?
Oh yeah, I do. I do a lot of stuff.
I love it. Well, I've gotten in the habit where I get up in the morning and I get my coffee and I go outside and I stand in the grass, even if it's for a couple minutes, but it just helps. It grounds you and you can feel, I talk about this on every show because I'm so amazed by the energy that comes from Mother Earth.
Yes.
It's like, when we were kids, we ran around barefoot, but for some reason we all grew up and we forgot about it. Hey, we got to go to commercial break, you guys. I'm having a great conversation here today with Josie Jackson. This is Nancy Earl. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Ready? Here we go. Hi, it's Nancy Earl, and this is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Miss Josie Jackson. We're talking about Ascension. We're talking about the crystalline body. The other thing I want to mention, I want to see if you talk or a little bit about this. I feel I get downloads. I can feel the angels putting energy into my head. For a long time, I didn't know what it was until somebody said, "Oh, that's a download, Nance." But I get tingles, and now I just let them do it, and I don't think anything about it. Yeah, you feel that too, and did that happen to you as well?
Oh yeah, it happens in a myriad of different ways. A lot of times, for me in particular,
Yeah.
um, I will just know that I'm getting downloads because I'll get hit with a whole bunch of what we call ascension symptoms. It's just a reaction because you're integrating the new information. Sleepy, don't want to eat certain things. There's a myriad of different things that happen. And again, I'm not a medical professional. This is not medical advice, but some of these symptoms, what'll happen is the person will go to the doctor thinking something's wrong with them. The
Mhm.
doctor can't find anything. That's
Right.
how you can confirm that you're simply dealing with ascension symptoms and you're just needing to nurture yourself in a healthy and natural way and just kind of ride it out.
I like what you said about eating because I don't eat meat anymore at
Mhm.
all. Every once in a while, I have some fish, but that doesn't even agree with me anymore. I used to have a glass of wine, and it's difficult for me to even have a glass of wine anymore. So it's like my body has rejected all of this, and that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes. And that's a real authentic part of Ascension. You've got the
Mhm.
commercialized version of it, Ascension. I'm making y'all aware of this. There is a commercialized version of Ascension, and then there's the real
The
Ascension.
real deal. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that, Josie. What do you see on the commercial side versus the real deal?
On the commercial side, you will see a lot of people intentioning the ascension process. Oh, I want to ascend, so I'm going to do these things, right?
Hmm.
It's more of a decision that you made, and then you're using all of these tools trying to ascend. Now, the authentic ascension process is the energy hit you, and all of a sudden, you don't want meat anymore. Meat tastes bad.
It
You don't want
does.
to drink anymore. You're just responding to the energy. Okay, and a lot of people out there trying to be plant-based or they're struggling because they are not responding to the energy. They're trying to make it happen, because when
Yeah.
spirit hits you, when this energy hits you, everything's really easy. You don't have to struggle with refraining from certain things, because you just won't want it.
Yeah,
You won't.
it's true. That's true. That's absolutely the truth. And yeah, and I think a lot of people who are trying to do this stuff, I keep, when you were saying that, I thought, well, they just need to connect with God. They need to connect with the divine. People don't want to do the work, I guess.
Yeah. There's a thing where they avoid the shadow work. They want the light part, but they don't want to deal with the dark part of the situation. A lot of light workers do it. A lot of people try to avoid shadow work, no matter what level they feel that they're on. There's still the periods of time, the dark nights of the souls, where you have been running from something within you that you've got to address.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for saying that, because that's happened to me. There were things I had to address at the beginning of the year, and I finally did. I was forced to, not forced to, but you start to look within. I guess it's looking within and what do I need to work out? And it continues on. It's a never ending. You're always trying to work different. I mean, none of us are perfect, right? You feel
Yeah,
that way too? Yeah.
as long as you're living, you're continuing to have experiences. So any of the soul work and shadow work you've done because of past experiences, yeah, that's valid, that's great, but you still wake up the next day and you continue to have experiences. So by default, you're gonna always have some kind of shadow work to do.
Hmm. Now, have you found it easier to forgive people um, since I don't know, in the last year or so? I guess it has gotten a little bit easier for me because I see things from a different perspective, kind of like what we were talking about before. Have you seen that too? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You really understand they know not what they do. Like you feel it, you
Oh my
understand it.
God, I can't believe you just said that. It's true.
Mhm.
That's Josie. That's exactly what I've been feeling lately because I've had some people do some really horrible things. And I feel like Jesus did, forgive
Yeah,
them, God, for they know not what they do.
yeah. You
That's
have the
it.
inside scoop, and you're very privileged and you're very grateful that you have the awareness, so you can have the compassion for those who
Yeah.
don't have the awareness, and you understand that they're just being whipped around right now by the
Yeah.
energy, because they don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that because that's exactly how I feel. In fact, the other day I said, God, forgive them for they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
and that's where I'm at because, so, and people, it's really weird because, and I don't know if you're seeing this or not. I have a lot of people come to me and ask me what their path in life is supposed to be. People who are older, they're like, what am I supposed to be doing? And it's interesting. Those are the people that are needing to ascend, but they need like reassurance. Now, are you finding that as well when you do readings?
It's a fun question to deal with when someone comes to you and asks you, what am I supposed to be doing here? Why am I here? Right?
What's your
Um,
life purpose? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because what they want to do is they want to put a title or some kind of box around how they're supposed to express themselves in order to be of service to humanity.
Right.
And that just, it doesn't compute. So I tell them, hey, this is your potential energy. So you can express this however you want, but this is the potential that you have.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You can choose how you want to express it. Anybody can do the same thing that a preacher does in a church
Right.
in all kinds of different professions. You can still give, divine guidance and knowledge, whether you're baking cookies, fixing cars.
Right. Whatever you're doing, right. You put your heart and your soul into it. That's exactly right. I
Yeah.
like that, Josie. That's really cool. You're funny. Well, what do you want to tell the audience as far as what people can do at this point to help themselves through this ascension period?
The first step is self-honesty, okay? Self-honesty. Be honest with yourself. And then number 2 is let yourself off the hook. Have compassion for yourself,
Yeah.
okay? You're changing. Everybody's changing. And Spirit wants you to know in the now that nothing matters. And I know that's hard to grasp, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing matters. Detachment is definitely a practice. There is no destination. You are energy and you're just shifting and changing. Things are
Mm-hmm.
not actually ending. This is an infinite
It's an
universe.
experience we're experiencing, I
Exactly.
think. Yeah, I think we're experiencing, as you're talking about this, I'm thinking that, we're just going through an experience part. It's just difficult for a lot of people because we do see, it's almost like I see such a clear break. I see people who are totally ascending, and then people who are so into money and stuff, and they don't see it at all. At all. I mean, they're just like, and to me, stuff is not important anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Are you at that point too?
What's interesting, because it can be annoying when you are going through a spiritual experience that is detaching you from everything physical. It can be annoying when you're dealing with people that are only focused on physical. However, there's a destruction and a construction happening.
Okay.
So it is part of some people's path to focus on the physical. Okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're not ascending. It just means that they're not ascending the way you're ascending, because
Right.
your purpose may be dealing with more of the things that are non-physical. Their purpose may be rebuilding the financial system, rebuilding homes that are more eco-friendly, things like that. You see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I've heard, I had a lady call these people the sleepers. I love it. Yeah, she calls them the sleepers, and that we shouldn't judge the sleepers because they have a purpose.
yes, there are some people out there that are, in fact, asleep and they're still stuck in the chasing money thing. But there's a difference between those people and the people that have a purpose.
Okay.
And you'll know by their energy, by their demeanor. Okay, if you're dealing with a negative person that's always talking about money and always exuding negative energy, they're probably not in their purpose when it comes to rebuilding for humanity. But if
Mm-hmm.
you see someone that has a more positive disposition, but
Right.
they're also trying to gather large amounts of money, they're probably doing something that's going to benefit the whole.
Oh, I love it. Hey, we got to go to commercial break. You guys, I'm here today with Josie Jackson. Josie, tell everybody how to get in touch with you for a reading.
Well, on YouTube, you can type in the search engine Josie Jackson. That's Josie Jackson. Eccentric Services at gmail.com. We're going to spell that XSINTRIK services at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you. Hey, you guys, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Nancy, you're out. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Josie Jackson. Josie, I thought on the last segment, maybe we talk about judgment. What do you think? Because people are out there being awful judgy of each other. And it's getting crazy. And one thing, I'll say one thing and then I'll shut up and let you talk. I've learned not to judge. I have learned not to judge another person because we're all on our own path. Talk about this.
Yep. And non-judgment is also a practice. We're
Oh,
practicing a lot of things, okay?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
we're having an organic learning experience, okay?
Mhm.
So non-judgment is not a practice, and it starts with you. You've got to shift judging yourself first, and then it will be easier to not judge other people. But in the event that you find yourself being judgmental, you can always catch yourself in the moment and cover it up with something positive. Okay, that's how you
Like
cannot.
what? Like, give us an example, Josie. Like, what if you're like, oh, look at that person next door. Why are they doing this? And then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean it. Then what? I mean, do you just take it back or what?
No, this is what it looked like, because you're not judging yourself, and you caught yourself in judging someone else. So if you're like, oh, that person shouldn't be wearing those clothes in this building, right? You caught
Mhm.
yourself and you're like, oh snap, I just judged that person. You can say, okay, you know what? There may be a reason why this
Mhm.
person is dressed this way, and that has nothing to do with me. Okay, so um, I'm going to just shift out of this energy so you can avoid judging yourself, instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't have judged them. I did this. And you're placing your bait, bringing the negativity back to yourself. You
Gotcha.
want to send it out into the universe. Just shift it. That's
Yeah.
all.
I
That's
like
how.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I like that. That's a good way to do it. You know, as we all ascend, and everything's going on in the world, sometimes it's hard to stay positive for a lot of people. I'm staying positive. I guess I feel, how can I say this? I feel like I'm in balance. I think that's what we're all trying to achieve, a balance. What do you think? Talk about balance a little bit, Josie.
One thing that I like to make sure people are aware of is the difference between balance and harmony. Remember,
Oh,
as a being, you are moving. You're a whole event happening, just you by yourself. So just imagine all the events happening around you. So when you're talking about balance, you're talking about something that's standing still on the scales. Once it's balanced, it doesn't move. Well, that's not you. You're going to always be thrown out of balance. It's achieving harmony in each moment.
Mm,
Moving in harmony is more of what you want to be focused on.
mhm.
Harmonious. Going back to harmony, because you're going to be thrown off balance with all the changes happening around you. But as long as you have harmony, you're good.
You know,
Okay.
Josie, I had something happen to me the other day. I'll just talk about this, and I want to talk about tolerance. I have a pretty good tolerance level, but the other day I was like doing a show or getting ready to do a show, and there's a guy next door, and he's working next door, and he's whistling really loud. And I'm like, dude, I need to do the show, and I can hear you whistling, and I know everybody else can hear you whistling. So I tolerated this. I know I got to talk about this. I'm venting. I'm venting. So I tolerated this for quite a few weeks because he's been doing work next door. But then day before yesterday, I just lost it.
Wow.
Yeah, I got up and I just walked outside and I said, you know, I don't mean to be rude, but could you stop whistling? I'm trying to work and you're interrupting me and I know you don't realize it. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. And I kind of felt bad because I was like, I should have been able to tolerate it. But then there's a fine line between tolerating, and I know this sounds silly, but I'm just giving you an example between tolerance and kind of just like standing up for yourself. Talk about that. What do you think, Josie?
Oh yeah. I talk about this a lot. The difference between aggression and assertion. Okay.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah, your shadow is important. It helps you to stand up for yourself. So you don't want to completely get rid of the ego, because you need to assert yourself in certain situations.
Hmm.
However, again, harmony, because if you lean too far to the negative side, it becomes aggression.
Right,
Okay.
right,
There's
right.
certain times where the energy hits you and you're hypersensitive. It could be emotionally, physically. You will have these moments where you will say, just like Nancy said, oh, I should be able to tolerate this. Why is this bothering me? You're simply hypersensitive in that moment. That's all it is. There's nothing wrong with you. And again, you'll go into judging yourself, talking about how you should be able to handle this. In the
I
moment,
know. And then I felt bad, Josie. I'm like, oh God, I hope I didn't hurt the guy's feelings. You know what I mean?
well, again, you needed to work. You were trying to do something and it was disruptive, even
Right.
though obviously he was in a space of immense joy.
I know. He was over there. I'm like, dude, you're driving me crazy.
There's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with what you did at all. The way to not feel bad about it is maybe say, hey, I'm working, but I'm going to be done in about an hour. And I don't mind you whistling. I love it. But just right now is not a good time for me. That's
Yeah.
it.
No, and that's kind of what I did. And you're right, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's out there just so joyful and he's trying. I felt so bad. But no, you have to assert yourself. And I guess you're right. It's the way that you do it. I didn't go out there all angry and ticked off. Right. I just said, hey, if you wouldn't mind, it's just really driving me nuts right now. But I'm one of those people, like when you're an empath, and I'll just say this. Bright lights bother me. Loud, a tea kettle whistling, I can't tolerate. There are certain things, I'm so sensitive, I guess. There's a lot of people out there like me. I don't know if you have this, but I'm so sensitive, I can't deal. I have to go I have to turn that off. Or if the timer goes off, I have to immediately go shut it off because it's, I can't tolerate the noise. Have you experienced that or seen that?
I remember one time my son was writing in another room. He was literally just writing with a pencil and some paper, and I lost my mind. So I understand you.
Yeah, it's not like I do it on purpose or anything. It's just for some reason, when you're so sensitive, there's certain things that you can't tolerate, and light in crowds. I have a hard time in crowds. I don't know. I think a lot of empathic people
A
do.
lot of instances do. Yeah, they have a hard time in crowds. And again, this is all about energetic hygiene. Some things you can't avoid. So as long as you're doing, whatever it is that it looks like for you. For me, it's qigong and meditation, right? Grounding. As long as you are on top of your energetic hygiene and you do this stuff like clockwork,
Right.
no matter if you need to do it or not, just do it every single day, then it will help your tolerance level. Okay.
I agree with that. But then on the flip side, I will say, as an empath, there's certain things I just can't be around.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about your home space. I'm talking about out in the world.
On
When
the
you're at
world.
home, that should be your sanctuary. You should have somewhere to go. You should have a quiet space because empaths need levels of deprivation. My earplugs are best friends. Sometimes I will be in my closet. You do have to have your things that you need. And when you're stuck living with other people, sometimes you just have to separate yourself for a certain amount of time to get what you need when you are living with others that don't understand, and eventually get yourself out of that situation because you're going to stay depleted. Okay.
Yeah, like I think a lot of us who are empathic and who have these abilities need a little more sleep than other people. And that's always hard for sometimes other people to understand. It's not that we're lazy or we don't want to get up. It's that we need a certain amount of sleep to kind of regenerate. Do you find that as well?
Well, that used to be me, but it was because I was living with people who were draining my energy
Me
constantly,
too.
and I was never able to recover. So the biggest help that an empath is going to get is to create their own sanctuary and mandate who is able to be around them and who is not able to be around them. And if you are not in a situation where you can live on your own, you're going to have to make it your closet or something and put a sign up that says, don't bother me for this amount of hours. And you're going to really have to be assertive and stand your ground with these boundaries, and do your salt baths and cleanse and clear your energy, because what's happening is you're just constantly being drained. It's
Yeah.
like somebody being stuck out in the ocean and they're swimming and there's no shore.
Right. And you were right on. That's exactly what happened to me before I was divorced. Yeah, my ex-husband was draining my energy, and it happens, and there's nothing you can do until you get out of the situation. And it's almost like you got to save yourself.
You have to save yourself, literally.
I feel that. Josie, our time is up. I am so glad you came on the show today. You were just a wealth of information. I hope you'll come back again.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate it.
Oh, no. And tell everybody again how to get in touch with you.
You can go to Josie Jackson on YouTube, which is Josie. That's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Also Eccentric Services at gmail.com. Eccentric is spelled XSINTRIK.
Okay. And you guys, if you want a psychic reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com, and click on book, and you can go to my calendar and book with me. I'm just really happy that you came today, and thanks for joining us. I think we helped some people.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Everybody take care, and we wish you well on your ascension. God bless. And this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. We will see you next time. Everybody take care. Bye, Josie. Bye.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week, and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goal.